Movie friends, fans of dead meat, everybody, welcome back to the channel. How are you guys doing today? We're going to be doing another kill count reaction, and this one's going to be for a recent video, Fear Street, Part 1, 1994. He actually did a kill count, which is cool. I really enjoy 1994. I think it's my least favorite of the three, but I still really overall enjoy it. I enjoy the whole thing as a trilogy, so I'm really excited to see what he thinks of it and see the kill count, obviously. So, guys, if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. We are on the road to 10,000 subs. Thanks to you guys, we hit 5,000 a couple days ago, really. So, thank you so much for the support. But let's go ahead and dive into this thing and get started. So, 3, 2, 1. Now.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Fear Street Part 1, 1994. As its title implies, this is the first part of the Fear Street film series, based on the Fear Street book series written by R.L. Stein. Fear Street began in 1989 with The New Girl, and eventually spawned over 50 novels and various spin-off series.
50 novels?
Most people know Mr. Stein for Goosebumps, but I understand the Fear Street books were a bit more graphic, with teenage protagonists instead of Goosebumps preteens. Personally, I've never read a Fear Street, so I won't be able to comment on how the movies compare. I do know the movies don't follow any specific Fear Street book plots. Instead, the movies take the settings and some characters and tell their own stories, crafted by director and co-writer Lee Janiak, who had previously made the film Honeymoon and directed episodes of the Scream TV series. All three Fear Streets were filmed back-to-back, Lord of the Rings style, from March to September in Georgia in 2019. They were originally going to be released in theaters within a single year by Fox, but that plan fell apart after Fox was purchased by Disney. Eventually, Netflix acquired distribution rights and released them week after week in July of 2021.
My birthday,
as is often
Lane's
the case
birthday,
with Netflix horror,
July
I was
9th,
inundated with requests to cover these bad boys. And I'll admit, I was skeptical at first. Netflix's other huge horror hits never did too much for me. I found Bird Box painfully mediocre, and I notoriously hate both babysitter films. While watching the first Babysitter, I initially felt the same trepidation.
Kind of
for the most part,
Bird
1994
Box.
didn't
Thought it was a little
impress
overrated.
me, and I wondered why everyone was making such a big fuss over it. But then I realized I couldn't wait to watch Part 2, and when I finished that one, I was downright pumped for Part 3. The Fear Street films really grew on me, and the more time I spend with them, the more I appreciate them. Even if they're not doing anything revolutionary, they're a remarkably fun and easy watch. The trilogy follows high school students in Shadyside, a small Ohio town that seems to be cursed with bad
I did not know it was a small Ohio
more
town.
than just being in Ohio. Haha, go blue! Shadyside's troubles are egregious and murderous,
I live in Ohio.
setting it in stark contrast to its neighboring town, the wealthy Sunnyvale. Part 1 takes place in 1994,
I didn't know that actually takes place in
very
Ohio.
much in the style of Scream, which came out in 96 and defined the horror genre for the late 90s. Parts 2 and 3 travel back in time to look at historical Shadyside tragedies, imitating other horror films in the process, but somehow always keeping things tied together to the central story. Though each film works as a successful standalone,
and
with proper beginnings, middles, and ends, they're also a brilliantly executed cohesive trilogy with a surprisingly satisfying conclusion. I mean, this thing really sticks the landing. I even teared up during Part 3. Part 1 is my least favorite film of the trilogy, and the one that seems most derivative.
I agree with this.
Though it takes place over 25 years ago, it still feels like something made in 2021, no matter how many 90s songs they stick on the soundtrack. And trust me, there are a lot. The needle drops are non-stop.
They kind of force stuff down your throat a little bit,
I'm a huge fan of Nine Inch Nails and Pixies and garbage. It's a bit distracting when the first act has a different song starting every few minutes. I have plenty of other complaints that I'll mention during the kill count, but it's worth noting that a lot of people love all three of these movies, and that I'm probably not the target demographic here. I'm in my 30s and tend to like things that are less mainstream. Fear Street has an undeniably pop sensibility targeted towards teens. I think it's great, though, that this kind of thing exists. It's a good bridge into more graphic horror, from things like Goosebumps and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Fear Street may feel like those other films at first,
We've
but
agreed
these
so far
movies
on
don't
everything.
pull any punches. There's a whole lot of gore, a fair amount of sex, and you know what? They even kill some kids. Gotta respect a YA movie that doesn't baby things up too much. Since those gnarly kills are part of the reason so many of you wanted this episode, let's get to them. The movie begins with Maya Hawke. We
Very
love Maya
Scream
Hawke.
reminiscent.
She's so damn
Yeah, with her
charming in
death.
Stranger Things 3. Hawke plays Heather Watkins, who works at a bookstore in the Shadyside Mall. It sells a lot of Fear Street-looking books written by fictional author Robert Lawrence, which is what the RL stands for in R.L. Stein. Heather's closing tonight, making her a closer. Homonym to Closer, the Nine Inch Nails song playing on the soundtrack right now. It's the Fuck You Like an Animal song, but not the Bloodhound Gang one. That was 99. The only other people here are the janitor and the sex doll. Oh, and Ryan Torres, Heather's friend played by David Thompson. He was in the Kick-Ass Green Room and in Gotham as Scarecrow. Besides them, though, nobody else is here this late. What? Except maybe a disembodied voice or two. This opening segment is one big love letter to Scream. Heather gets a creepy phone call, just like Drew Barrymore's Casey Becker. The hooded skeletal killer who shows up is pretty reminiscent of Ghostface. And the similar sounding score comes courtesy of Scream's composer Marco Beltrami, who wrote all of Fear Street's music alongside a different co-composer for each film. Skullmask chases Heather into a Hot Topic store where he slashes her stomach beneath the black lights. She runs back out and passes the bodies of 3 random mall employees seen dead, though 2 of them are blink and you miss it in the background. The movie puts its Scream influence on its cloak sleeve as Skullmask catches up to Heather in a shot directly referencing when Ghostface got Casey. I actually love that, especially because Maya Hawke is similar to Drew Barrymore, a young actor we know and love who comes from a famous acting family. It makes her a surprising first victim, just like Casey was. And just like Casey pulled off Ghostface's mask before she died, Heather does the same to Skullmask, revealing her friend Ryan Torres. They go on the kill count together as Ryan is shot in the head by a sheriff who arrives too late to save Heather from bleeding out to death on the floor. The opening credits show us the intramural conflict between Shadyside and Sunnyvale. Shadyside suffers from so many murders it's called Killer Capital USA, while the successful Sunnyvale citizens haven't seen a single crime in decades. Lots of cool images in these credits hint towards things that'll play out in the next 2 films, and perhaps in future Fear Streets as well. The idea to shoot 3 films at once and release them close together came from producer Peter Chernin of Chernin Entertainment. Director Lee Janiak took the idea and ran with it, deciding the movies should all be connected and take place in different eras. Janiak, who's married to Ross Duffer of Stranger Things, poured her heart and soul into making these movies, directing all 3 over the course of 108 days.
She did a phenomenal job. She
really
really
did. She didn't just lean on nostalgia when it came to each era. She actively differentiated them with specific looks and tones. For 1994, she and cinematographer
each one is very different.
Dolly tracks and tripods to emulate a traditional studio style, common to slashers of the late 90s. With the cold open over, it's time for a title card and a whole bunch of 90s songs on the soundtrack. Pissed off grungster Dina, played by Kiana Madera, drafts a note to her ex Sam as Garbage's Only Happy When It Rains
I didn't love her character all
plays
that much, to be honest.
anachronistically. Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark takes over as Dina's brother Josh chats
Love
on
Josh.
AOL.
Fantastic
90s! The 2 of them head to school as Machine Head blares, giving us 3 songs in 3 minutes. And then, hold up, Sophie B. Hawkins comes in as Josh admires his sister's friend Kate? Watch it, nerd. Wait, what the fuck? Now Portishead? Come on, movie. We're only 13 minutes in and you've already got a full EP. Calm down, witches. Dina's still reeling from a recent breakup, but her friends Kate and Simon know how to cheer her up. Make jokes about their classmate who just got stabbed to death.
The dude was wearing a Halloween skull mask. How is that not fun?
Because someone died. I know lots of people love Kate and Simon, and I know Simon's pretty much just Stu Macher from Scream. But it's hard for me to root for callous douchebags and stuck-up drug pushers.
I have to claim my place among the stars, bitch.
They get better
Maybe
throughout
it's a
the movie.
school-wide case of assholery, though, since they've got people like this dude who's doing another reference to Scream. But in Woodsboro, the punks just ran around dressed up like Ghostface. This Shadyside goof's dragging around an effigy of Maya Hawke's dead body. Yeah! No! Many people in
that's
Shadyside
fucked up.
blame the shopping mall murders on a witch's curse. Sarah Fear, who cut off her hand while making a deal with the devil. Josh even maintains a whole conspiracy wall linking all of Shadyside's tragedies to the one-handed witch. Then again, witches are Shadyside High's mascot, so I mean, they're kind of inviting it. A Cypress Hill song bleeds into Creep by Radiohead as the soundtrack continues its hit clips approach to the 90s. A bus of Shadyside football and band students drive through their dying town and into Sunnyvale, which looks a lot more like the right side of the tracks. I like the small detail of Sunnyvale jerseys having their names while Shadyside's don't. Good way to show the schools having very different budgets. Dina's here to get closure with her ex Sam,
I didn't notice that.
recently moved to Sunnyvale
cool.
and is already dating again. In what's played as a tiny twist, Sam ends up being the gal Dina was looking at. This is a lesbian love story, which is great. You don't often get that as the main romance in a movie, and I always like to see things that are new. Janiak and her wedding partner Phil Graziadei, who is gay, wanted characters who weren't traditionally the leads in slashers.
How do we make it more representative of what the world was actually like back then? Just wasn't kind of able to be represented in film.
This is reflected in the differing demographics between Shadyside and Sunnyvale.
I gotta lie, Leesburg
I think the movie wisely doesn't make that a focal point.
I live in
It's more of a case of casual
Leesburg.
representation, letting its story and characters stand on their own. The broader message is kept mostly to subtext, like with the Curse of Shadyside, which represents generational trauma and how history can hold people back. At the same time, Fear Street doesn't shy away from reality and shows how difficult it was to be queer in the 90s. That's why Dina's mad that Sam, played by Olivia Scott Welch, moved away and is dating a guy now. This Sunnyvale jock, Peter the butt cheek needer. Dina feels abandoned and says Sam is lying about who she is, while Sam says Dina's too negative and nihilistic. Dina thinks Shadysiders will always fail, as opposed to Sunnyvalers like the mayor Matthew Good. The mayor's brother is Sheriff Nick Good, the sharpshooting skull slayer from the shopping mall. By the way, I know Sheriff Good says on TV there were 7 victims in the mall massacre, but the ones I didn't see ain't going on the count. During a memorial, Peter's a dick about his neighbor's plight, causing a big ol' fight to break out that sends the Shadysiders bussing back home. They're still riled up about it, as are the Sunnyvalers, which is why Peter's sneaking up with Sam and his bros to start some shit. Inexplicably, the bus driver keeps on driving like nothing is wrong, even when the Sunnyvalers toss glass bottles at him. And even when Dina opens the freaking back door, are you kidding? Yo, driver, do you see what's going on here? Stop the freaking bus! Stop the bus! Yeah, what she said. Sam's hurt in the crash and crawls out of the car with her nose bleeding. When her blood touches the ground, she sees a trippy flash of images, until Dina breaks her out of it and apologizes for the whole, throwing a cooler at their windshield thing. Sam spits up blood and is carted away like a Friday the 13th final girl, and when the other kids are questioned, they all stonewall Sheriff Good, leaving the matter as one between them.
We're all fucking dead.
When Skullmask shows up outside her home the next night, Dina assumes it's Peter acting on his promised revenge. She calls Kate, who's babysitting kids at a house so close they can see each other, very much like Laurie Strode and her friend Annie in the original Halloween. Only Annie didn't have Lindsay Wallace storing drugs for her to sell.
Do not eat these. These will make your little heart stop, and you'll choke to death on your own vomit, and
don't put them on the table.
So super sad.
Simon's there with Kate for some reason. I don't
put him out on the table.
And they find Skullmask in the living room, hunched over laundry. After he disappears in a weirdly abrupt way, they note that he was sniffing on Simon's bloody shirt. They tell Dina, and thinking that it's Peter, they decide to go see Sam at the hospital. They get into her room with the help of one of Kate's customers, a nurse named Betty. Bam-lam. As Betty takes Dina to Sam, Josh gets Kate to notice him by hacking the vending machine. Hell yeah, man. Ladies be loving them crunch bars. Ladies don't be loving when they get driven off the road, though. So Sam's still mad at Dina.
Pissed.
They have a back and forth yell fest that is painful and personal.
So don't blame me when you wake up
actually.
in 10 years just like your dad, old and drunk and going nowhere.
Whew, can we break this tension, please? Oh, a kill? Perfect. Thanks, Peter. That was a big help, man. Skullmask is here, and he chases after Dina and Sam, pursuing them so single-mindedly, he runs right past their friends. Know who Skullmask didn't run right past, though? The receptionist Stephanie, who they find with her throat slit, nor Nurse Betty, who Skullmask walks up to and stabs in the neck. Ah, damn. Skullmask chases the girls again until Dina throws him down and learns his identity. It's Ryan Torres, the mall killer, complete with the bullet in his brain. The Skullmask was designed by Fear Street's makeup artist Christopher Nelson, who we've actually seen on the kill count
realize it was him
as a cop in Halloween 2018, where he also did the makeup effects, including his own death scene. For Skullmask, Nelson wanted something simple you could buy in a store, just like Mikey My-Mai's in Halloween. Dina's friends have a stolen ambulance waiting for them, so they get out of there and head towards the police station. There, Sheriff Good has mall janitor Martin locked up, with the charge of spray painting the mall where he works, cleaning the place up. Wait, that don't make sense.
Sheriff Good? More like Sheriff motherfucking Evil.
Dina tells Sheriff Good that Ryan Torres was just chasing them, but he doesn't believe her because, bullet in the brain.
Would you say he was more Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living?
Wait.
Dead.
Well, he wasn't blue, so night. He leaves to do cop stuff, and in his absence, Dina subtly steals a gun from police officer Kopinski. Come on, Kopinski, that's like the 4th time this week. During this, Simon comes across a sexy singing chick. She ends up being a scary sexy singing chick who attacks Simon and starts freaking slashing him right in the middle of the road.
Scary
That is,
shit.
until she shot a whole bunch by Dina with that cop's gun. Risky shots there, Dina.
She was so
especially
hot.
with the lack of payoff, because this little lady didn't even let that interrupt her ditty. The kids regroup at Dina's house. Simon mentions the singing girl's straight razor, and Josh realizes who it was.
This is Ruby Lane.
He says Ruby Lane slit her friend's throat with a straight razor in 1965. Ruby was just one of Shadyside's many headlines of death. In 1978, a baghead Jason-looking killer murdered kids at a summer camp called Nightwing. In
get to that
1950,
one.
a milkman
My
named
favorite
Harry
one.
Rooker did a couple of murders, including one seen here. Josh's history lesson goes on to give us 2 more flashback kills for the count. Someone
Stabbing
beaten with a
scenes
bat
in
by
this
Billy Barker in
are just
22, and a
crazy.
girl being drowned by a grifter in 1904. All of these killers were seemingly normal people until suddenly snapping and slaying. The first was way back in 1666, when Pastor Cyrus Miller killed
I didn't even
kids
realize
and cut
that
out their
in the
eyeballs.
first one.
Josh
Didn't even put
believes
that
all
together.
these killers were bewitched by
It's
Sarah
cool when
Fear,
you-
who was executed in 1666,
when you see it.
the same year the kills began.
By cutting off her cursed hand, she kept her grip upon our land.
Kate points out the witch's curse doesn't explain why dead killers are coming back to chase them.
They are
Sam
doing
says
her
that
bidding.
that aspect might be tied to those mental flashes she had when she bled on the ground after the car crash.
I saw the witch.
They head back to the spot where
Yep.
it happened, and beneath some red moss, discover bones and chains. Wait, what? Those were right there on the ground this whole time? You're telling me these are Sarah Fear's shackles and skeleton, and shit's just been
Yeah,
lying on the
that
side
makes
of the
no
road
sense.
for 300 years? They try reburying the bones to put Sarah Fear's spirit to
That kinda
rest,
makes no
but
sense.
It doesn't
You
work,
think
especially
they'd be
not with
underground.
Sam bleeding all over the bones again, which causes another round of hallucinations and whispers. Baghead Jason starts busting ass towards them, making a beeline for Sam and nearly taking her head off. Dina saves her though, and everyone's able to escape the Camp Nightwing killer for now. They realize the killers are only going after Sam. That's why Nightwing ignored Josh a minute ago. The only reason the killers went after Dina and Simon is because they had Sam's blood on their clothes.
It's Jaws, dude. A shark smelling blood.
Wait, then why did Skullmask kill the receptionist and Nurse Betty? Come on, movie, make the rules clear. You're stressing out Sheriff Good. The kids go to the high
I mean,
school
that's.
to
I think
enact
it's
a
because
plan,
they
but
tried to
first
stop
they've gotta
him
get
from going into
completely
the
clean
school.
of Sam's
That's
blood.
probably
This
why they got
leads to
murdered.
a triple or 2.5, I guess, love scene.
Like,
while the
it's
Cowboy
just best
Junkies'
not to
cover of
question 'em
Sweet
or
Jane
talk to
plays
them,
on
I
the
guess.
soundtrack. With Dina and Sam, I get it. High school exes always be getting back together. But Josh and Kate is more off-putting to me, even though they've shared some nice moments throughout the film. It's just that Josh was introduced in a very annoying little brother kind of way. And as an annoying little brother myself, it's weird to me that he's getting with his sister's friend. I guess we can assume they're more like peers, since actor Benjamin Flores Jr. is only a year younger than Julia Raywald. In any case, I
Yeah.
hate the part where Simon masturbates in the mirror. I'm sorry, but no human would do that in this situation. It's literally only for them to have a single joke.
Did you all go to Pound Town? Me too.
Josh narrates their plan over Firestarter, one of the sickest fucking songs ever made. Rest in peace, Keith Flint. Basically, they're gonna use Sam's blood to lead all the killers
So
to
smart,
a bathroom
actually.
full of
It was-
bottles.
it was crazy
which, you
smart
know
when I
what?
first saw
Kinda
that.
looked like oxygen tanks to me.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
Simon thinks so too. Their plan starts off strong, with the extensive blood trail network attracting Shadyside's shadiest killers: Skullmask, Ruby Lane, and the Nightwing Killer. Gotta love that guy's pep. Also gotta love
Yeah,
that
I love
Ruby
how he
Lane
runs
is
all
played
the
by
time.
Jordan Denatally, who starred in season 2 of Crypt TV's The Birch. The killers follow the
shit.
blood, ignoring the others, because they just want themselves a chunk of that Sam. But sorry, Nightwing fuck, we're all out of Sam here. Might I interest you in a mannequin and some fire? Burn, motherfuckers! Unfortunately, not even fire can keep these killers from trying to kill. And as they reconstitute themselves, Kate comes to a conclusion.
They're coming for her. We put Sam in the hall. We end this now.
Though Dina's not a fan of the plan, Sam starts to come around until Josh realizes there might be a way for all of them to survive. After all, someone
have to kill her.
survived the Nightwing massacre in '78.
There was one Shadyside survivor, C. Berman.
Steve Berman survived Camp Nightwing and its axe enthusiast killer, and she also said she saw the witch, just like Sam did.
I saw the witch.
Funny thing is, though, that C.
saw the
Berman
witch.
also died, then was brought back to life with CPR.
She survived by dying.
Huh, kind of like how I make a living from killing. This
Yeah.
plan to tempt kill Sam takes them to the grocery store where Simon works, like the Bruce Campbell character Ash that Simon surely compares himself to. Kate makes an itinerary of drugs for Sam to OD on, as Simon does his best Matthew Lillard explaining the plan.
Pile 2 is gonna bring your core temp way down. You may feel slightly sick.
Yeah, you might start feeling a little woozy there. After Sam ODs, they'll revive her with adrenaline, and to distract any killers
Yeah,
who
this
may
is
show up,
Jesus.
they'll be running around smeared with Sam's blood. Nothing could go wrong. Dina promises
Oh,
to
shit
bring
does
Sam
go
back
wrong.
to life, and she starts her parade of pills.
Unfortunately.
Hey, yeah, easy with the tongue there. Can't lose any of those pills. You need them all. The drugs begin working as intended, although Dina has to help Sam after a certain point. Oh, Sam, I just said you needed them all. Gross. Skullmask shows up and is eager to kill
Yeah, that scared the hell
and
out of
though
me.
Kate's able to jump in and fend him off, the pill plan gets ruined all the same. Damn it. Now Dina's gonna need another way to kill her girlfriend. Perfect! A lobster! Oh, no, wait, not the lobster. Dina's plan is to drown Sam in that fish tank. Lobster pee.
They should've just done that from the
then
beginning.
attacks Kate in a fight with a few good beats. I like the bit with the cake smash. I didn't know these two got married. The fun and games end with a gut stab, and
Yeah.
Kate is given a death that's unexpected and unforgettable.
Yeah, it
as
was.
Skullmask
It was
shoves her head
crazy.
first through an industrial bread slicer? This kill is an all-timer, and possibly
Yeah,
a
it's
reference to an even gorier one from
crazy.
1989's Intruder. The makeup team tested a prosthetic head with an actual bread slicer, then shot footage of it alongside clean footage of Kate's actor Julia Raywald, who seems like she loved watching her death scene. VFX supervisor Paul Graff then combined the
Great
shots
stuff.
with
It was great,
great-looking
but it was
blood effects
unexpected.
and made sure to keep Kate's face recognizable as it came through the slicer, you know, to make it horrific. Director Lee Janiak insisted on Fear Street being bloody because she wanted young teenagers to feel like they shouldn't be watching it, the same way she felt
Yes.
watching Scream. She also wanted the characters to sound like real teenagers, thus the constant stream of F-bombs.
I remember
yeah,
getting a call
swear a lot.
from the studio after when they watched the dailies being like, there are a lot of F-bombs in that scene. Like, maybe we need to try to do some alts that don't have them.
Simon and Josh are being chased around by Shadyside monsters, and after they're both stunned by the sight of Kate's body, Simon is quickly killed with an axe swipe to the head. Holy crap, that was sudden. Things are
Yeah.
just about to get real bad for Josh and the ladies when Dina
And then-
successfully drowns Sam, which
Yep.
I've gotta count as a kill. Sam's confirmed death is the only reason these killers all disappear. Dina
Yeah,
grabs the
it is.
adrenaline to bring
It's true.
Sam back, even though, wasn't that part of the OD plan? I don't think a litany of EpiPens is proper lifeguarding technique. Dina switches to CPR, which works in that wonderful magical movie way, with no broken ribs or ill effects or nothing. Sam's back, baby, and everything's gonna be okay. They make up a story for Sheriff Good,
Crazy.
whose skepticism is expressed through lines that are too on the nose.
You look like a ghost, like you just came back from the dead.
Without any other
Didn't
info,
realize that.
Good blames everything on Kate and
He
Simon,
sounded disappointed,
who he will
too.
label as a couple of Shadyside junkies.
Fits the narrative, right? Nice and neat.
Sam's disapproving mother picks her up, angry about her daughter's sinful sapphic ways. But how can Sam not love Dina, moms? Dina makes her mixtapes that start with Pixie songs. I mean, might as well just make it all of Doolittle, D. It's a perfect album. Dina's phone rings and she finds C. Berman on the other end. Earlier, they had called
Oh,
her
it's
after
never
finding
over.
her number in something called the White Pages. C. Berman tells Dina that things aren't as over as she thinks, which is why Sam is hearing voices say her name, just like Ryan Torres did. C. Berman says the witch Seraphir will always find another way to kill, just like she has with all the past killers, whose names are carved into stone somewhere. And don't look now, but Sam's name just joined that exclusive list.
Samantha
Dina turns around to
Fraser.
find that Sam is sticking her in the gut with a shiv. But don't let that dramatic drop fool you. Dina ain't dead. She's in good enough condition to have a linoleum
I thought she
wrestle
was
round
dead at
with
first.
Sam. Dina eventually wins and ties Sam up with something called a phone cord. And the movie ends with her promising to get her girlfriend back. To be continued, motherfuckers! How many people about to be looking at the shady
1978.
side of a coffin lid? Let's find out and get to the number.
Like the shirt.
"15 people died in Fear Street Part
I know why he
1,
did
with
that,
the
by the way.
unusual gender breakdown of 10 women and 5 men. Talk about casual representation. I like it. With a runtime of 107
kills.
minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 7.13 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill very
To the girl, yeah.
obviously to
Yeah.
Kate. I mean, her head was
Absolutely.
sliced into bread-sized pieces. And not like Wonder Bread, that shit was Texas toast. Fucking gross. Dolma
And
said
she was
for Lena's
screaming the
kill,
whole
we'll
time.
go
It
to
was-
the receptionist Stephanie. Still not sure
Yeah.
why she was killed, considering the rules. Hey, and fuck it. For Fear Street, let's give
Well,
out a new
if you
award.
interfere,
The
then
Shiny
you're-
Shady Cider, sure, which will go to my favorite monster of the film. The first winner will be Billy Barker, the creepy little bastard. I know Skull Mask had all the cool kills, and Ruby Lane had that earworm of a song, but Billy just gives me the heebie-jeebies, and that baseball
he's
bat
creepy.
bash
He
is
just-
nasty. Shout out to stunt
He's just
performer
sitting there
Emily
bashing.
Probst, who, according to IMDb, was also in Cooties. And that's it.
Oh,
Fear
shit.
Street Part 1, 1994, came out in July
I agree with the
2021.
yeah, I agree.
Its
I
sequel,
agree.
Part 2, 1978, was released 1 week later on Netflix. The kill count for that movie is also 1 week away. And until then, I'm James H.
Cool.
Janice. This has been the Kill Count.
On the next kill count.
Tired of the same old Friday the 13th?
Oh, yeah, part
Too
two.
bad, 'cause it's
Part
time
two.
for a third scoop of
Okay, so that was Fear Street Part 1, 1994 kill count. I agree with that. That to me, that made a perfect sense. We actually agreed with that movie like almost on every fucking point. So I respect that. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't even know about the movie, like the behind the scenes stuff and all that crazy stuff, you know. The references to other horror films that he was listing was just really cool, surprising to me. So like that was really neat. So guys, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. What was your favorite kill? What was your least favorite kill in Fear Street Part 1, 1994? If you like this type of content, always be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and all that great stuff. We post as often as we can. We keep it retro while we do it, and we love doing it. So until next time, movie friends, keep it retro. Check you out later.